What's going on, guys? Hey, I'm gonna come back to you, and I wanted to bring a story to you that I'm sure you've already seen. It came out last week. A white woman, I think Rochester, New York, called a black kid the N word on a playground, and again, I don't advocate calling anyone a name at all, but I think white people are getting sick and tired of being called racist, being told that they can't use whatever word because, again, they're being controlled. They're being told you can't say this word because, again, you're white. It doesn't matter what black folks are doing. It doesn't matter if black folks are stealing. It doesn't matter if they're killing. It doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter how they're acting. Again, you're horrible if you called them that. If you said that word. Again, they can do whatever the hell they want. They can sit there and jump on cars and tear stuff up and set things on fire and do whatever. Of course, they're black. They're oppressed. We got to feel bad for them. We got to feel sorry for them. And I think a lot of white people, they're done with it. And I think, you're starting to see a big pushback. Now, again, man, I wouldn't recommend saying that word, driving to the ghetto and yelling that word out, whatever. Of course not. Of course not. But again, man, if you're a grown ass adult and you avoid that word like the plague, even when you're around friends or whatever, and you're not at work and you're not whatever, but you avoid using that word because, again, it's the N word. You can't say it. You're white. I recommend saying it. I do. Say it. Instead of avoiding it, say it. No, again, man, I'm not going to say it because of YouTube or whatever, but I'm not going to say I'm a grown ass man. I'm not going to sit there and say the N word. The N word. When there's a song lyric or somebody's talking about the word or, whatever. I'll say the actual word. I don't mean anything by them, but I'm a grown ass adult. And I will say what I gotta say. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I don't really give a shit. But here's the video that happened, that came out last week.
Did you call him the child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him. Okay, why don't you have the balls to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say. Nobody digging through your.
A little kid just did, you dumb.
That little kid, you call him
Yeah.
the little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna.
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old and the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
That's a hate speech. And you can be that.
I don't give a.
Huh.
Nice.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
People are getting sick and tired of being told what they can and can't say. And again, this woman, apparently this child, this 5 or 6-year-old or whatever, I forgot how old they said the child was taking her son's belongings. And again, she said what she said. Now, again, I'm not advocating for that at all. But parents, black parents, they called their children the N word, whatever. I've heard it quite often. Quite often. And worse than that. I mean, again, they've cussed their kids smack out. Beat the crap out of them right there in public, whatever. And but this white woman, because she dared to say the boo-boo word, She's horrible. Now again, man, I wouldn't advocate for for saying that word, for calling anyone that. But again, people are sick and tired of being told what they can and can't say. Again, that's a mechanism of control. That's all that is. You can't say that word. Better not. You can't say it. If you say it, we'll hit you. We'll smack you. We'll get you fired. We'll get you canceled. Whatever. And again, that's how they reinduce fear. They try to make you afraid. They try to make you small. And they're hoping it'll work. Because again, they don't have a whole lot to back it up. They really truly don't. Again, now I don't recommend going into the ghetto or going wherever and saying that. Getting yourself fired or whatever. No, of course not. But don't be afraid of using that word in reference or whatever. If you're talking about something or somebody's talking about something, or you're listening to a song lyric or whatever, don't be afraid of that word, of using it. Because again, you're being told you can't use it because you're white. You're being told that. And again, man, people are getting sick and tired of that. I mean, did you hear the guy that was talking to her? He said, again, he tried to reinduce that fear because she's not afraid. So he said, well, there's hate speech. There's hate speech. I can call the police. Do it. Do it. Because again, man, black people, they use it all the damn time towards each other. They call white people, they call white people monkeys and gorillas and white apes and Neanderthals and whatever. And again, we gotta accept it. But they absolutely lose their shit if you say, or if any white person says that word. They lose their shit. I'm going to play for you guys a couple of different black women on X that were talking about this. Watch.
Ooh, way I would have rearranged that face if I was in front of her. The way I would have rearranged that face if I was in front of her. I said it in my previous post, but I hope and pray that they find your location, and I hope they dog walk your stupid. And you guys raised $250,000 for her? I am beyond disturbed. White people should not be forced to live among monkeys. Black fragility is getting pretty tiring. Sometimes to be accurate, you have to use unpleasant speech. White advocacy. I want to say that I'm shocked. But I'm not shocked, I'm angry. Can't even.
But I believe a lot of white people, they've had it. They're sick of being told what they can and can't do. And they're sick of being pushed around by a certain demographic. They're sick of being controlled. Again, I'm not advocating calling anyone a name. I'm not advocating that at all. But what I am saying is don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of a word. It's just a word. Stop being afraid of that. Again, I don't go around calling anyone that name. Or I try not to call anyone any name. I really truly do. I don't like I mean, again, sometimes I pick with people, but I, for the most part, I don't call names. But again, I will if somebody's talking to me about that word, not calling names, but I will use that word as long as I'm not a certain company. As long as it's not, hostile people are not around. Again, I will use that word because again, I'm not five. If somebody's talking about the N word, I will use that word as reference to that word. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, the N word. I'm not going to say it because I'm white. I'm not going to say the actual word. I'm going to say the N word. No, I will say the word. And again, I don't mean anything mean or nasty or whatever by it. But I will use that word. Because again, I'm a grown damn man. And again, I'm not gonna go to the hood or the ghetto or whatever, or even use that word, on the job, because I might lose my job. But yeah, I will use the word. And again, people have got to stop being afraid of things. They've got to stop being afraid of being called a racist. And again, that woman, she's not afraid. And you can tell these people are evil. Especially the first woman saying, I would punch you, I would do this, I would do that. She is evil. Because again, if they can't keep you afraid, if they can't keep you down, they got to make you afraid. They got to somehow bring something else up to keep control over you. Well, say it in front of me and see what happens. Say it in front of us, see what happens. That right there is evil. They're telling you, hey, look, I can control you. I can tell you not to say whatever word or whatever, and you better not say it. And if you do, this and this and this, then this will happen. And maybe even violence. That right there is pure evil. Now, I want you guys to watch this next video. This next video is a woman, a white woman, in Raleigh, North Carolina, I believe. And she uses the N-word towards a group of black women at a restaurant because these black women are being loud and kind of rude. And again, she confronts them and they get nasty with her. And she winds up calling them the N-word. Watch.
David, that's right. It happened right here yesterday evening during happy hour. The woman who used the racial slur told me today she will not apologize for her language. And in fact, she said she would use the same word again.
Just like everybody else.
This minute-long cell phone video shows an encounter between customers at the Bonefish Grill in North Hills.
This person had the audacity right here to come to our table and tell us that we are the rudest people that she has ever met. Look at her.
Then the woman, who we now know is Nancy Goodman, calls another customer the N-word.
You're too loud.
We're too loud.
In your opinion. Let me show you my money. It's just as green as yours. Right. Oh, you're so stupid.
We found Goodman at her home.
I'm a 71-year-old woman who lives in Raleigh. I suffer from tremendous anxiety.
She says that anxiety and the women's behavior pushed her to act as she did.
I'm not going to say I'm sorry to them because they kept pushing at it. So, and that's all I'd really like to say.
What about your use of the N-word?
I used that word because they forced me into it.
Do you see how that's incredibly offensive?
Yes, I do. That's why I said it.
Of course.
Yeah. you know, she used that word because, again, it offends you. It offends people. It's a strong word. And again, the word's not strong. The word doesn't mean anything at all. It's the way people, what they attach to it. And again, right now, we know the black community, they don't like any white person using that word. They forbid you to use it. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to use it. So again, people know what word to use if they want to get under a black person's skin. And they do. You know, I remember somebody I knew years ago on a podcast saying that he couldn't. He's a white guy. He could not understand why any white person would use the N word unless they were racist. And the black person he was talking to said because they were angry to get back at the black person. And again, that truly is the reason, to get back at that black person. I get to say something that will stop them dead in their tracks. Again, I'm not advocating using that word or any slur, but we truly got to remember that the reason why that she used it and the reason why the other woman used it is because it does demand attention. And you're going to see more and more people using it because it does demand attention. There is a big problem going on right now. White people, they're afraid. They've been told to be afraid for years. And white people are starting to wake up. Some are. And they're not going to fall for this bullshit anymore. Again, they don't want to live the way people tell them to live. Again, it's control. It's nothing but control. Right now, black people, they try to control white people by, again, making them feel bad, making them feel guilty, making them feel like they're racist, whatever. And it works for a lot. It definitely works for the liberals. It works. And again, white people said, hey, look, enough's enough. Some have. And I think more and more will. But guys, man, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.
You son of a.